Hello everyone, welcome to the daily / weekly race guide. It's the first one of 2021, so this is number 1. We didn't have a number 1 last year because I can't remember what number we started at, but it wasn't number 1. We're here now, number 1, 2021, and we're at Tokyo Expressway South Outer Loop in FF cars. It's a touring car race essentially, not necessarily Group 4 as it says it is. You know, you get given the car, it's an FF car. Let's have a look at the race details then. We are racing 4 laps here at Tokyo Expressway South Outer Loop. It's a grid start. You will need traction control because all the front wheels do is spin, and we are on racing hard tyres. Now, of course, the fastest car in a straight line in the FF category is the Peugeot RCZ, so that's what the majority of people picked. The Scirocco seemed okay. I was racing a Scirocco in the race. Maybe they're all fairly balanced, I'm not sure. I think the Audi TT will struggle at the end, of the top end of the pace, but the Peugeot, in my opinion, the one to go for. Let's jump to the race then. Let's have a look at this circuit, the race, talk you through a track guide, and let's have a look at what I would call a huge chicane of death. Here we are then at the start. You can see an Audi near the front, to be fair. You can see the Peugeot on pole position. Make sure you have the FF cars. The cars are provided for you, so, you know, don't have to go and buy them. It's race A. They're given to you. As you can hear, I'm revving the engine for no reason whatsoever. As I start in the RCZ. So traction control to 1. Make sure you stop the wheel spin, which you will see down there. Look at that. It nearly went to about 90% in the red bar there. So significant wheel spin there. Turn it off before you change gear. Then you have no loss of straight line speed, and you get the benefits of the start, of course. So turn 1, going to be pure carnage in any lobby, really. People will outbrake themselves, as you see there. The Swiss guy there just outbroke himself a little bit in the Scirocco. Lower down in the lower splits, you're going to have that even more so. People going into barriers. Understeer galore here. I was in the barrier a number of times, as will as many people in this race. You're just going to have to be careful. One where I don't think DR is a huge risk. You're just going to have to be very careful about going into the barrier quite a lot on the understeer. As we head into this right-hander, oh, someone's gone absolutely into the barrier there. That's the Hungarian driver. Around we go, and you can see here lots of close contact and racing. So this is the long acceleration period. So if you're an Audi TT, and this is what I was getting back to earlier, the top end speed when it's out of slipstream, it will struggle. It just hits a wall. The Scirocco suffers with it similarly. The Peugeot RCZ doesn't, which is why it's also good for race B. Oh, I haven't talked about race B yet, have I? We'll get onto that shortly, of course. But yes, the RCZ, the best in the straight line, with or without slipstream here, as we head towards this right-hander, and we chuck it in, trying to stay on the inside here, try and gain a position. We do indeed, up into P8, and then we enter the chicane of death. Now this chicane is awful. There was crashes every lap here. It's very hard to do. I took it slow that time. Fortunately, oh, maybe not this lap. I thought there was a crash every lap. I'm lying to you now, as you just see a barrier contact there from the Swiss. I tried to lift off to go around the outside, instantly on the marbles, instantly into the barrier. As the French driver trying to come through. You see a little bit of contact here, there and everywhere as we head towards turn 1. Can we make enemies on the French driver then? In towards the right-hander we go. And just a little bit of contact there with the Swiss driver, but we're going to say happy days, thank you. Up into 5th gear, try and go around the outside. Nearly into the barrier, we had to really let off there. Let's go back up to 5th Tidge, there we go. Through we go. Right, let's advance a little bit further on now. Let's get close here to the Swiss driver, as here you see the chicken. Oh, there we go. The Italian has gone there. I think that was the Audi TT driver. Don't quote me on that though. Through the right-hander we go then. And we're actually going to head on to a track guide as well, as we overtake the Swiss driver round the outside. We had actually had a number of attempts at this, but finally we get past. So heading towards turn 1 then, you're going to have obviously the brake marker boards if you want to use those. But the Tag Heuer sign there, the start of it, really good marker. Now I'm actually going to go a bit deep here because I was a bit scared the Swiss driver was going to go deep. So I don't brake for 100%. You need to brake 100%. Notice I just trail brake there, and I'm going to go into the barrier here. I stick to the left, but unfortunately the Swiss driver hits me there. We continue on all the same. Through these corners being 5th gear, it reduces that understeer, reduces the wheel spin, which causes more understeer, of course. 5th gear, the primary gear there, as we still get it wrong and hit the barrier anyway, but 5th gear for those corners. Trust me on that one. Heading towards the hairpin then, on the left-hand side you got these brake markers. Just after the 150 metre board, where that bridge holder is, essentially, the big concrete block there, that's what I use to brake. That's literally my marker, bang on that concrete block, brake, and I'm trying to, you know, stick on the outside here as the Swiss driver's there, but he broke himself as well. So unfortunately, a bit more side-by-side action. Gives me enough space on the exit there though. And we continue racing all the same. So obviously at this point, it's just flat out all the way to the 90 degree, or long 90 degree right-hander, should we say. We're not rallying, so I don't know the exact commands as we continue on in the slipstream here of the Peugeot. Now, it's weak slipstream, so 1.5 seconds is the gap of slipstream, okay? Not 7.5 temps like normal. Just keep that in mind, because obviously slipstream is critical here. Heading towards this right-hander then, just after the 100-meter marker is this lamppost. It's in between the 100 and the 50. It's got a telephone on and a yellow sign. Use that as your brake marker. Drop to 4th gear and really try and get it tucked into the corner. You can see the Polish driver there just goes a little bit deep. I didn't drop to 4th gear. I then realised it's 4th gear, so I dropped at that point. Next lap I do it fine. In towards the chicken then. The 50-meter board is what I'm going to use as a brake marker here. You can potentially go a little bit deeper and use a flag marker just up ahead on the next lamppost. But you want to go slow entry. For that reason, as you saw, the Polish driver went in a little bit too quick, hit the bounce, went straight off into the barrier. But that's going to be it for this race, to be honest with you. It's a pretty tricky race, lots of barrier contacts. Oh, okay, now I'm going to show you me plebbing this chicken, actually. Oh, there you go, you see. Too much air, can't turn the car. That's what happens. But we still finished P3. Happy days. Quinton had a penalty in there. That's how I overtook Quinton, if you're wondering. Quinton's in all 3 of these races, so get used to seeing Quinton. If you want to be in these races, of course, just play from 1 GMT on a Monday, and I should be racing. But that's going to be it for race A. An interesting one. You might have some good racing, but there's going to be lots of barrier contacts. Let's head to race B then, where we head to Italy. Where, yes, your eyes do not deceive you, we are at Monza. So another absolutely mad chicane track. Obviously the turn 1, lap 1, and technically lap 2 as well. Pretty carnagey, let's put it that way. Let's have a look at the race details first of all then. We are racing 4 laps here at Monza. It's a rolling start this time, so at least it breaks that gap up a little bit, which is why lap 2 can be just as dangerous as lap 1, and we are on racing hard tyres. Now, this is Group 4, and you can pick any Group 4 car you like, as long as it's got a lot of power in a straight line. So, the Bugatti Veyron was high on the list, as was the Peugeot RCZ. They were the 2 cars of choice for this race. There was a Huracan in there as well. I'm not sure how that did in the grand scheme of it. It does have 7 gears, though. Should keep up in the slipstream. Let's head to this race then. Did we have Turn 1 Monza Carnage? You will see that in a second. It's a fairly okay race, to be honest. And we also have a track guide. Of course we have a track guide. Here we are then at the start. Lots of Velio! Shout out to you on pole position. You see a number of familiar faces on this grid. Mainly RCZs, as I say. Veyrons as well as we've got a Huracan and a Megane. Weirdly, a Megane, I forgot to mention that. But obviously an FF car, going to be good on acceleration. We've got a lot of slow corners into fast straights. So good for the start of it, but then might struggle towards the end. Here we go then in the Bugatti Veyron. So, turn 1, lap 1, Monza. Most lobbies, most splits, when you head to this corner, there will be a crash. There will be carnage. We've all seen Super GT's videos with carnage at Monza, lap 1. We've all seen everybody else's videos. Carnage, lap 1, Monza. But where do you brake? Lap 1, turn 1, Monza. Well, you look for the 150-meter board, and you look for this in any game. It doesn't matter which game it is, Gran Turismo or Assetto. You look for that 150-meter board. Now, you're actually going to brake a bit earlier. You can see I'm trail braking here. I'm judging my speed based on Quinton up ahead, but just be careful into turn 1. You can avoid carnage by just trail braking a little bit. You know, half braking a little bit earlier on, and then you're already on the brakes. You don't have that time delay to switch from the accelerator to the brake if you only use 1 foot, or to even just press the brake initially. If you're already halfway down, you're already braking. You've done a little bit of the distance already. Heading towards lap 2. No, we're not on lap 2 yet. We're heading to turn 2 though. On the right hand side, you've got the end of the barrier. That's what I normally use. Obviously in the Bugatti Veyron, I've not mentioned this yet, you're actually braking a little bit earlier than all these markers because the brakes on the Bugatti are atrocious. They really are bad. Now, the car also weighs an absolute ton. Well, several tons actually. So it's very good over the sausages. Oh, we've got 2 flying, synchronized flying up ahead there. You must have just seen with the Megane, and I'm not sure who was up ahead. But turn 3 here, Lesmo 1, use a tree or the shadow. The shadow is actually very nice. You can use that tree or the shadow. I actually use a shadow personally, but I'm putting the tree out in this situation. I use a tree when there's no shadow there. Heading towards the next one, you're looking for the tree on the right hand side. Now I'm braking really early again because I'm very close to cars up ahead. But that tree, the last tree on the right hand side, it's very near the barrier. That is what you use as a brake marker. Chuck it in. Fourth gear is normal. Obviously third gear, because we're right behind a load of traffic, you have to be slower than normal. What I was saying earlier about the Bugatti and sausage curbs and, you know, the weight of the car, you can actually abuse the sausage curbs quite well in this car. Unlike the RCZ in the previous race, which went flying, this weighs like a lot. So, you know, you can just go straight over them, really. Now, heading towards the Scari, at the end of the barrier once again, you can brake, or you should brake a little bit earlier in the Bugatti. Obviously, if you're in the RCZ, you might be braking a bit after that. It depends what you're using here. I mean, it's nice to use the Bugatti. It's nice to use something different, isn't it? So, personally, I'd go for the Bugatti on this one. But obviously, the Bugatti doesn't like braking. So, through a Scari, the car should stay fairly balanced towards the end of a Scari on the last left. The car does get a bit oversteered, so just be careful of that. And towards the Parabolica now, on the left hand side you got the 100 meter boards. In the Veyron, that is what you're looking for. If you're in the RCZ or anything that brakes a lot better, you're looking towards the lights and towards the 50 really. Not braking out the 50, but around the 70 meter board, 80 meter board, that sort of distance. That's the lap guide on Monza. Nice and easy there. What's that? 6 corners, braking markers for you. Let's have a look at some of this racing then. So we've got Miu Miu up ahead here. We've also got the German in an RCZ. So this is where the Veyrons really are supreme. You can see this now. Look at the increase in speed here as Miu Miu goes to the right side. So I'll try and follow Miu Miu in towards the braking zone we go. And Miu Miu just doesn't get it stopped just in time. So we all stop. This is the Constantina effect. This is actually normally where accidents happen. But we all stopped. We all survived it, including the driver behind, so fair play to each and every one of us there. You know, no contact, we all survived, happy days, we continue racing as Miu Miu goes defensive to the RCZ. So we got RCZs on the right, and we got the Bugattis on the left, heading towards the second chicane here. I'm braking a little bit early here as it's a tighter line for me. There's a little bit of contact there between the green Peugeot and Miu Miu. As through we go here, we've just got enough space. Miu Miu goes defensive here, so we're on the left. We just get tagged a little bit there by Miu Miu. Just a little bit of misjudgment there, I think. Is that deserved a penalty? I don't know. I mean, in reality, it could cause a crash, so maybe it is. But, you know, we're racing 4 laps. I'm not really that bothered about it, to be honest. It's just a tiny misjudgment. So maybe not deserving of a penalty. Even so, the German has just taken their penalty. So we're going to follow the Swiss driver through there. Up in to P10. Happy days. In towards the Scari then. And we've not actually seen many Shadow Realm entries, or Narnia entries, whatever you like to call it so far in this video. It's quite unusual. Normally the daily race videos are full of these, but even so, we continue on racing here. And we've got the Peugeot going for the move on Miu Miu again in that Veyron. It's a bit weird saying Peugeot versus Bugatti as well, I've got to say. In towards the left-hander we go. As we head there into the chicane, and you can see good racing up ahead between the two. And we're looking to try and get through here. Nowhere to go to make it 3 wide for me. So I'm going to follow the Peugeot through this time. Miu Miu goes around the outside here at Lesmo 1. As we're just going to try and fall in behind. But then we can't. The other Peugeot driver just in the mix there. So I'm having to really slow down the car through the apex. Drop it to 3rd gear. So that's a 4th gear corner in the Veyron. We continue all the same then towards Ascari. And let's see what happens here. Actually, we're going to head towards the end of the race instead. Not much happens towards the end. You can see we're in P9. Not much has changed. We're actually catching the P7 driver who's in the Megans. The Megans survived this, interestingly. And we're catching P6 as well. So, not too bad of a race. As I say, in a lot of lobbies, there are going to be a lot of crashes on turn 1 on both lap 1 and lap 2. So just be careful. You saw the Constantina effect on lap 2 as well. Just be careful in this race, but you can have some good racing here. So far, so good for the daily races, I'd say. And it gets even better with race C as we head to Brazil, where, of course, we are at Interlagos. And you can see a very busy track of Group 3 cars. It gets even better. This race C is a really good one. Let's have a look at the details, and I'll show you why. It is 13 laps here at Interlagos. The rolling start is a bit meh, but we get the rolling start. Here's the critical part. Racing soft, mandatory. Racing medium, mandatory. We have strategy in this race. Fuel usage is ×2, tyre wear is ×6, there's some good strategies available for you here. It really is a nice race, I've got to say. I enjoyed this one completely. I can see how you can do a mixture of strategies. You can race a mixture of cars. Remember, this is the balance performance track, or used to be used for balance and performance by Polyphony as well. So this should be an absolute stormer, and I can tell you it is already. Let's jump to the race then. I'll talk you through some tips, tricks, the strategies, and also the race that actually happened. So what cars are people picking? Well, you can see the Peugeot RCZ on pole, then the Hyundai Genesis in P2. What a weird start to the grid and race. The Peugeot and then the Hyundai. A year ago from now, we would not have said that. We would not have said that. But anyway, we kick off the race. You can fuel burn at the start, so, you know, plant your foot on the accelerator. I say both tyres are mandatory. I said that in the intro for this race. Mediums and softs. Now, do you do a one-stop or two-stop? Well, in terms of if you want to win the race, a one-stop. If you don't want to win the race and want to have some fun, and you're going to get stuck in traffic anyway, both strategies are available to you. So initially I was going to do a one-stop, but we head towards turn 1 here. Remember, weave on the start-finish straight there, get your tyres warmed up, tyre wears in. But I see this at the exit of the Centre S, and I decide that I'm going to do a two-stop here because this is going to cost us a heck of a lot of time. But some good racing all the same, although I got a bit scared about the ghosted car there as we head towards turn 2 then. In towards the break-in we go. We nearly tap Skull Crusher's Evo there, but we all survive. We just run a little bit wide there and continue on through the left-hander, heading up the hill. So you can see very close action here from the start. I'm not sure actually what's happened here, what's caused this. You know, the bottleneck between two different packs here. But even so, you know, we can still have some good racing here. We're losing seconds by the second as well, of course, as we go around this left-hander. And some good racing all the same. So a mixture of Peugeots there. We've got the Evo, got the Supra in there. The BMW M2, I think, is in there, driven by somebody. We've got the Hyundai in there as well. Just seeing what's ahead. I think there might be a Viper right at the front of this pack as well. Don't quote me on that one, though. It looks like a Viper. But anyway, at the exit of the Centre S, I decided I was going to do a two-stop here, just to try it out. And I thought, okay, let's do this. Let's see what the time penalty is in terms of a two-stop strategy. Because then you know, and then if you want to do it, you can. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. So, we're going to head towards the pits now. And then I see somebody come in the pits. Now, I know that's Quinton in the Flawless Pug. So, interestingly, Quinton's doing the same thing. So, it's 12.2 seconds we came in the pits with. Now, normally I fast forward this. Why have I not fast forwarded this? I don't know, but even so, we continue out the pits now, and it was 12.2. So we're looking to see what the gap is when we've actually got to the next turns, in turn number 2, or turn number 3, whatever number you want to call the next turn, the left-hander, because that is obviously, we're going to have a speed penalty here, exiting the pit lane. So it's 12.2, so it's currently 7 seconds, and that's going to head towards 8 seconds, the gap, I would say. So around 8 seconds for a pit stop, but you saw Quinton taking a penalty there. I got a bit awkward on the left-hander there, but we all survived. I just spotted Quinton still on my rear view there, and hazards on. We're all good racing. So Quinton got another penalty for cutting turn 1, so just be careful of that turn 1 cut. But we're here on lap number 4 now. We've caught up to the medium runners. So this is why it can be a viable strategy when you're stuck in traffic, because obviously these guys have all been fighting. They've all been fighting. As we approach the BMW here, we're going to go for a little bit of an undercut there, or cut back, whatever you want to call that, and through up into P16. So I'm going to use the slipstream of Consta. We're going to have a really good race here. Team R4M representing Super GT here. We've got Consta and Quinton on their alternative accounts. This gets tasty, let's just put it that way, as we head towards turn 1. So obviously I know Quinton is on the same strategy as me. I was thinking about going for the move. I decided not to. Then I saw Quinton go for the move on me, so gotta give Quinton a little bit of room there through the chicane, which I was worried about getting a penalty for, or the right-hander, should I say. I didn't, thankfully. You don't want to cut it more than that, if I'm honest. But we continue on racing here. Now, Quinton has been on fire in race B, so I'd done race B first, as I always do. Then this is race C. Quinton was on fire in the first one. So I knew, you know, I could work with Quinton here, and that was the goal. Work with Quinton where I can. Obviously, at the moment, we're stuck behind Consta, trying to get past Consta, who's representing Key there in that livery. Where's Super GT? That should be on the back of your car. You're representing R4M. As Quinton goes down the inside here. Slight tap on Quinton there. That was accidental, of course. And then through the left-hander we go round the outside. Obviously, the softer tyre, newer tyre compared to the older medium of Consta. we get that job done and dusted in towards the braking zone, which we go a little bit deep. Typical of this channel, of course. So through we go then. And you can see we've been losing time, so that gap where it was 20 seconds is now up to 22, mainly because of traffic and overtaking people. So you're never going to win the race with a two-stop strategy unless you're out in the lead and you really pump in the laps. But obviously, you're getting the fun here. You're going to get slowed down irrespective, so you go for the fun and the overtaking, have the better tyre. Quinton unfortunately gets a 3-second penalty there for that dive on the right-hander, but even so, just continue racing. Quinton very unlucky there in that flawless pug. Yes, my face is all over that. If you did not realise, that is my face as we continue on up the hill then. So a couple of penalties here, there and everywhere. Quinton's going to head in to the pits, stage left. We're going to carry on, which I thought happy days. We're now breaking away from the pack. We shouldn't be in any traffic. And in towards turn 1 we go. You're probably going, where's the track guide, Tidge? Yeah, we'll get to it, don't you worry. As through we go. Then you see a couple of people coming out the pits then. So I was hoping here to use the slipstream of the Peugeot up ahead. I wasn't sure whether I'd catch them up by the end of the lap, but at least I could use the slipstream if I got in there. Mew Mew comes out right in front of me in this NSX now. In reality, oh, I thought I went for the move there. See, my memory's going. I thought I went for the move. I didn't. We carry on all the same then. Ah, this is where I get close. See? Memory gone blank. Anyway, we continue on towards the right-hander. I didn't want to go for the move on Mew Mew. I knew Mew Mew was on newer tyres. There's no point me going for a move when I'm on worn tyres. Unless I'm the much quicker car. But as you'll see towards the end of this lap, you can see Mew Mew gets into the rhythm of it. And Mew Mew starts pushing on. So we see the Italian behind me as well, Just Vig. Just Vig does finish very well in this race. So you can see, we're actually in the mix here to some extent. And this is where potentially a funky one-stop might work, because the soft tyres aren't hugely worn here. Now, if you went to lap 4, potentially, or maybe even lap 5 on the mediums, and then went to the softs, that's a viable strategy here as we go all sorts of wide there. Had to lift off completely, losing a huge amount of time here. Probably, near on 2 seconds there lost from that mistake. So remember, Quinton had a 3-second penalty. He's now on fresher tyres. It's going to be tight with Quinton, let's put it that way. Into the pits we go. And I've not fast-forwarded this again either. So, I don't know why I've not done that, but hey, you get a nice, lovely pit crew there to, manage the car there, the RCZ, and out we go of the pits. So we're looking for Quinton. That's our interesting goal here. Where's Quinton? We can see P10 there. And there it is. We just see that bright pink liveried, flawless car come through the left-hander. This is that straight penalty you get, the speed penalty. We're coming up behind Quinton, so obviously I want to work with Quinton here. Knowing Quinton's on the same strategy as me, it was always in my head. Let's work together. Let's see how far we can go up this grid. You can see we have lost a lot of time with the traffic. We're down in that 21-second region still. It was up at 22 at one point as we go through on Skull Crusher there in the Evo. And we're going to do some bumper drafting. You can do bumper drafting as we show you there. We're actually going to head on to the track guide now. I know you've waited for this. So head towards turn 1. On the left hand side, you'll notice there's 2 red pit boxes. The second pit box is your brake marker, or use that as your reference. Sometimes you want to brake a bit early. I'm just going to brake early here because I'm right behind Quinton. I always use that, by the way. That's my brake marker, standard brake marker here for Group 3 in any car. So, just start to learn that brake marker and you'll start to get consistent lap times. Through the centre S we go, just avoid cutting that inside too much, the right-hander that is, and head towards this left-hander. Now on the right-hand side, you got the end of the wall, you got the 100-metre board, or the piece of tarmac. Now I actually use the piece of tarmac normally. You can see I'm half braking here. Again, it's because I'm so close to Quinton. I'm just half braking just so I can get as close as I can without actually hitting Quinton. That's how I can race as close as I can to other cars. Occasionally, you still might tap them, but it's not going to be a huge tap because you're already on the brakes. Head towards the right-hander here then. You can't use my normal brake marker here, which is some lines on the tarmac. So instead, we're using the 50-metre board this time. So literally braking just before the 50-metre board. I'm going to drop the 3rd gear here. And that should help you get around nice and easy. Now, you're going to hate me for this next brake marker. I'm sorry, but I always use this tyre mark here. It's always there at Interlagos. Very easy to spot because it comes back onto the curb. Very good brake marker. Some people will hate that. I can only apologise, but it is what it is. That's what I use. Through the left we go. It's just a dab of the brakes, just to try and maintain some form of balance with the car. Heading up towards this right-hander then. On the left-hand side we have that greenish, light greenish slippy stuff. I kept out braking myself here, so just make sure you brake a little bit early here. I used second gear in the Peugeot. Weirdly, first made it very unstable. I'm not sure why. So second gear, and you can notice the stability there straight off the bat. Nice and easy. Through the left we go then, and I can't use my normal brake marker for this one either because of the light settings. So what you're looking for there is the brakes. You notice how the grass starts to appear more rather than worn grass on the right where it's brown, it's more green. You're looking for that basically, and that's what I use as a brake marker. Although I got a little bit too deep here this time, but we managed to bring it back there, and we continue on up the hill. So that is a lap guide of Interlagos. I have done one before on the channel if you do want to check that out. You know, similar brake markers again that I've talked about here, so it might not be worth your while watching it, but it's there if you want a bit more of a slower breakdown for this circuit. So we've got a small pump ahead in the most branded car I've ever seen. There's every sponsor you can think of on that car, as we try and get past as fast as possible here. Obviously being on the softer tyre and a newer tyre as well, we want to try and break away from as many people as possible. Probably wondering why I'm using the RCZ, by the way. It was the top of the leaderboard car, which is unbelievable. It reminds me of 2018 when I was trying to push it to rank 1 at Interlagos. So very interesting. It's my old baby, of course, because I used to drive for Peugeot in 2018. Brilliant car. I love this car. It's amazing. We advanced a bit further ahead then, so we made the move on small pup. We're now approaching the Polish driver who we raced at Nürburgring. Was it last week? I can't remember, the weeks now go by so quickly. So we're racing Cuba here in the Hyundai Genesis. So what can we do? Yes, we're going to try it again. Around the outside, on the softer tyre, the newer tyre as well. Lovely bit of racing here with Cuba. Absolutely fantastic stuff. In towards the braking we go. We managed to get it stopped with a little bit of drift in there, but up into P10. Happy, happy, happy days indeed as we go through the left hand. You see Quinton up ahead as well. Just pulled that gap. Got a little bit lucky with some other places where he could get past and I couldn't, and I couldn't keep up. No slipstream from Quinton, and he's bolting away now at the speed of sound. Ah, damn you, Quinton. Anyway, we continue on. We're now approaching Mew Mew with a 1.5 second penalty. That's a bit of a ripperoni. But we'll obviously get past Mew Mew. But can we get past beforehand? It'd be quite a lunge, wouldn't it? It'd be quite a lunge. Anyway, we'll look to do it. And no, of course, we're not going to go for it. But Mew Mew gets it all sorts of wrong into turn 1. Right behind Quinton, of course. So maybe just misjudged slipstream a little bit here. So now we're looking to try and get past Mew Mew as fast as possible. So I thought Mew Mew was going to go to the left initially, so went to the right. So I decided to go to the left here, overtake Mew Mew. Mew Mew's going to have the penalty as well, so I can go back over to the racing line and get the car stopped for this left-hander. As I say, this is a really, really interesting race. Not much more happened as we head towards the end now. So one thing to think about here is strategy, whether you want to do a 1 or 2 stop. The 1 stop, viable, and you can pit, lap 5 potentially on the mediums and go on the softs. Do 5 and 8. Very much possible. 6 and 7. I don't know if a 4 and 9 is possible. Someone can try that out, of course. As I say, I did the 2 stop there, and you can see we still had a fantastic race, finishing P9. Without the fighting, I reckon we could have been P4 there, maybe even P3 with Quinton. But that's going to be it for me now, folks. I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, do like it if you liked it. Subscribe if you want to see more. And there is Super GT if you want to watch some live stream races right now.